Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over something that I probably overlook a lot of times, and it's basically just something that you guys might be curious about. So, as a bait maker, every dollar counts, especially when you're first starting out. You're spending money on molds, plastic, you're buying clamps, you're getting all the stuff that you need, and it gets expensive rather quickly. So, if you're going to sell baits, or maybe you're going to give them to your friends and you want them to look nice, you're going to have to package them. And depending on what kind of look and quality you're going for, you can spend a ton of money on packaging. So I'm going to give you an option that looks decent. It is great. It's good enough to get you started. And then later on, if you want to upgrade, you can. But as far as budget friendly, this is one of the best ways to do this that I've found and still have a clean, professional look. This way isn't as good as having printed bags. It's not as good as having vinyl stickers to stick on your bags. And these probably aren't the best bags that you can get. You can go to clearbags.com and get some nice bags there. A lot of guys use bags from there, but they are more expensive from what I've found than these bags here. So the bags I have here you can get on Amazon. I will leave a link in the description, and they have different colors. This one is black with a clear surround. This is the big one. They have a medium one, so this is good for worms and like cincos and things of that nature. This is good for crappie jigs. And then you have a real small one if you are doing some kind of really small ice bait. These might be okay. The problem with the real small one is getting a label on it and making it look decent where you can still see the baits, because this window is pretty small. You can get variety packs. They have variety packs where you can get like 100 of each of these three sizes, or you can find the individual listings for one size and order the one size you need if you would rather do that. The prices on these change, so I'm not going to tell you the price of these, but they are relatively cheap. You can get a lot of bags for not a lot of money, and it is a great starter option. They are zip topped and they have the holes so that you can hang them on pegboard or however you're using to inventory your store, basically. With that, there is an investment that I would highly recommend you do if you are going to go this route. If you're selling baits especially, it's useful in more than one way. I would pick up a thermal label printer. And what this is going to allow you to do is you can print without using any ink. You don't have to put ink in this thing. You just plug it in, you hook it up to your computer, your phone, whatever, and you can print without ink. It basically burns it into the label, hence the name thermal label printer. What that's going to allow you to do is, one, you can print shipping labels. So if you're selling on Etsy or your website, Shopify, whatever, you can go on there and you can print your own labels. And it's going to save you a little money versus going into the post office, getting a label and handwriting it out, and it looks way more professional. It's easier to keep track of, and it just makes more sense. And that is just one little thing that you get as a bonus to buying one of these printers. Now, with this printer, you can get 2x3 labels, and you can make your own labels like I do. These are a really good way to do this. You can get them in 500 per roll or 1,000 per roll, and they are really relatively cheap compared to vinyl stickers for sure, and it is just a cheaper option to do that. But I've got some stick baits here, and I'm going to show you basically what you need to be able to bag these and how to make them look somewhat decent so that you can market them or give them to your friends. I'm going to show you everything you need and just kind of give you an insight to the process. If you're new, or maybe you've been doing it and you're looking for a better way, this is a pretty good option, especially a budget-friendly option. Okay, let's get started. We have our stick baits here. I recommend doing this on some kind of sheet that is slick just because it gives you a clean workspace, and this is easy to clean. This is just a cheap cookie sheet from Walmart. You don't need it, but it is a nice little thing. And then you're going to want your bags. What I like to do, because it makes the most sense to me, I like to put the labels on before I open the bags, because if you open the bag, this is going to start getting some creases in it from it being open. And if you don't open them and you can just do them while they're still sealed, it is the best option. But here is a little look at these labels. They are just peel and stick self-adhesive, and these came out of my thermal printer. I want to say it was like $130 for the printer, so really not bad considering you never have to put ink in it. And then you can put your socials here. You can say what they are. You can put your logo on it, however you want to design these. I just did these on a very basic editing program. I'm not super great with that, but these look good enough for what I'm doing. So I just try to peel them off of here and then take my bag while it's still closed, center it the best I can, and stick it on. The problem is you're going to have to do this every time versus doing a printed bag, but these are a lot cheaper unless you are able to buy a ton at one time. Then you might be able to do the bags like that, but honestly, if you're looking at this video, you're probably just starting out, or you've been doing it for a little bit and you're wanting to just find a different way. This is a lot more appealing than Ziplocs, but at the same time, it's still not the best way to do this. These bags are pretty easy to open, they're not too bad, and they make a good spot to put these worms in. Okay, next thing you're going to need is you are going to need some worm oil of some sort. This is worm oil from bait plastics, but the reason you need worm oil is to be able to get the baits lubricated and to get them into the bag, because otherwise it can be a fiasco. So put some on your hands. You may wear gloves if you are into that. I don't wear gloves for this, but I'm sure there's probably a reason that that would be a good idea. But for what I'm doing right now, it's fine. So now that we got these coated, just takes a few drops in your hand and then rub the worms there or whatever you happen to be packaging. Then I like to do, for these stick baits, I like to take the thicker end and slot them into the bag and get them most of the way in, and then I just like to stack them on top of each other, kind of one at a time. I can do 2 or 3 if I grab them quickly, but I'm having to work around the camera, so it's a little harder. So then I like to just take a couple fingers and push them into the bag best I can, get them straight, try to get them where one is not overlapping the other one so that you have a nice clean look in your package. Let's see here. Then I like to work them down in the package a little bit. Once I get them where I want them, I push with my hand, try to pull some of the air out of here, seal with the other hand, and then you're going to want to get the oil off of the package, because let's face it, when you do this, you will get oil on this package because it's just impossible not to, it feels like. And then there you go. Straighten them out the best you can. Get them where they're not bent. Work them down in the package until you get them just how you want them. And then as these sit, they will become a little more dry and they won't move around. It can be a little tricky to get them just how you want them. I'll play with that some more here in a minute, but there you go. Then you have a nice package of baits. Like I said, wipe this down, get the oil off this so it doesn't look so greasy, and then you are good to go. We'll do one more since I have these bright pink worms here. That is an insane color for worms, but sometimes you just need something bright and obnoxious. So I just put a little bit in my hand there, and then I just give them a little rub down. Just enough to make them easy to get in the package. You're probably going to want to keep a towel handy or something like that to wipe your hands on, because if you don't, you're going to get it all over everything. That stuff is a little bit messy, to say the least. So we'll just work these in here, same as before. You kind of get a feel for it after you've done it enough. And the main thing to consider when you're packing your baits is you want to keep your tails straight. On something like this, it doesn't really matter quite as much, but if you are doing like crappie jigs per se, that becomes a whole nother battle. And as you get into bait making, if you haven't already, you will start to understand that that can be a real pain in the rear, and it doesn't feel like too many people have that great of a solution. So they're in there now. We'll get them kind of straightened. Same thing as before, push the air out, and then we'll seal them, and then there you go. We'll give them a little wipe down with our sleeve here, since I don't have a towel right here. but we'll just give them a little wipe down. And for the price, this is not a bad option. These bags cost very little. These labels cost even less, and it is just a decent way to do this. So yeah, that is how I'm packaging, but you can see all the oil here. We'll have to take a towel and wipe this down, because if not, you're going to have a big mess on your bags. But that's just part of working with any kind of bait making and trying to bag things. But it gives you a little option. Like I said, they have the holes. You can hang them on your pegboard. Makes them nice and easy to see. I like the clear windows, so I don't have to guess what's in the bag. And yeah, for the money, they're really not a bad option, and it can really get you into starting to package your own baits. This is basically what I do for storage. I just actually framed a whole 4x6 sheet or 4x8 sheet of pegboard, and it just gives me an option to be able to hang stuff. And then I have some small frames over here that I'm not using. If you don't want to order pegboard hangers, you can get dowel rods and use dowel rods on the top, which is what I did since I had some on hand. But then I've also got some plastic ones down here on the bottom for my bigger bags. But yeah, that is just a really easy way and a cheap, affordable way for you to do that. So yeah, that pretty much has it. Short video, but it kind of gives you an idea if you want to start bagging your own baits as an option for you to do so. Pretty pleased with how these look, especially for the money. When you see the price versus printed bags, I think you'll understand the reason to do it that way. I'm sure printed bags are pretty reasonable if you can order so many, but I know a lot of guys order them overseas, most likely from China, and I don't know how long it takes, and I don't know if there's like a minimum order quantity. You open a bunch more doors when you go that route. I can order these on Amazon, have them in a day or two. I can order a couple, like a box of a bunch of rolls of labels, and it lasts me for a long time. I can just print what I need, and they print really fast. It's not like you're waiting on a printer to print a color photo. I mean, these are printing extremely quick. They have different colors of these as well, and you can design them however you want. They have circles, they have all kinds of different sizes, and get you some shipping labels while you're there if you plan on selling or shipping baits. It just makes it a whole lot easier. If you enjoyed this video, maybe found it helpful, drop a like and a subscribe. It really does help the channel out. We're working toward 1,000 subs, and when we get there, we're going to do a giveaway. Epic Bait Molds is sponsoring that, and I'm sure I will give something away as well, just to give back to you guys, and appreciate you watching. If you want to pick up any molds, you can head on over to the description. There will be a link to Epic Bait Molds where you can get some really nice quality molds. In my opinion, they're some of the best molds out there. So if you want to head on over there and pick up some molds or just check out their lineup, you are free to do so. If you want to buy any baits from me, maybe check out this packaging firsthand, you can head on down to the description, and there will be a link to my store. You can buy some baits. All that money gets to go back into this so that I can keep helping you guys and sharing my knowledge. I'm not an expert by any means, but I am glad to share with you what I know. So yeah, that pretty much has it. If you enjoyed watching, smash that like button, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one.